About 150,000 deprived boarding students to enjoy free education.
Ministry of Trade creates internet platform for Ghanaian SMEs to exhibit their products.
And South Africa celebrates Freedom Day.
Hello, good evening. It's time for news live on GBC24 and GTV. My name is Yoko Kwakuchre.
I am Shirley Anan.
On a three-day accounting to the people tour of the Bunahafo region, President John Mahama has announced that about 150,000 boarding students from deprived backgrounds in the country are to benefit from the administration's progressively free senior high school SHS policy from the 2016-2017 academic year. Already, day students are benefiting from the policy. Mr. Mahama announced the plan at the inauguration of the Emma Community SAH, one of the 200 SHS he promised to construct during the 2012 election campaign. I'll bring you pictures of that story later. Now, moving on, the former Nigerian President General Olusegun Obasanjo has slammed the Economic Partnership Agreement, describing it as disincentive to trade in Africa. General Obasanjo is the chairperson of the group of eminent persons put together by the African, Caribbean and Pacific ACP countries, which are currently meeting in Dakar, Senegal. General Obasanjo told the gathering that the statement is a personal observation and does not reflect the views of the body which he chairs, nor his country, Nigeria. The EPA is a trade agreement between the EU and ACP countries, and it seeks to give the EU access to the markets in the ACP without any tariffs. Our reporter Edward Nyaku is in Dakar for the conference and has joined us on the line for details of that story. Hello, Edward.
Hello.
Well, Edward, thank you very much for joining us. Now, what are the critical issues being discussed at the Dakar conference? Edward, can you hear me? I will get back to you. Just a little problem that we have, and we'll sort this out very soon. Now, a 15-kilometer sea defense project is to be undertaken in parts of Keta as a buffer against the choppy waves of the sea. This latest development follows the devastating effects of the tidal waves which swept through parts of the old town, with Fuveme being the worst affected. The Minister for Water Resources, Works and Housing, Kweku Ajiman-Mensah, disclosed the plan on a visit to the affected communities.
For people living along the coast in the Keta municipality, the sea is a blessing and a curse. A blessing because the sea is a source of livelihood to the communities, and a curse due to the destruction caused by tidal waves from the sea, which sometimes engulfs a whole community. People have had to move from their communities to start a new life elsewhere due to tidal waves. With sea defense projects in places like Atoko, Jita and Anyanui, the remaining communities including Fuveme, Agbledomi and Surudbo have been left to bear the brunt of the choppy waters. In all, 1,055 people have been displaced, with over 344 households destroyed. The situation has also affected schools in the area as well as farmlands. The situation is much serious in Fuveme, where over 2/3 of the community has been washed away. The only school in the community is also at the mercy of the sea. During a tour by the Minister for Water Resources, Works and Housing, Mr. Kweku Ajiman-Mensah, residents said life has come to a standstill.
We are all scared now. We don't know what to do. And I've been hearing from them that maybe they will come and do the defense. They will see defense here. But I may say it's now too late.
Last Saturday, the floods inundated us. All our things were submerged in the water. All our smoked fish at the time were also soaked in the water.
The minister assured them that, as a matter of urgency, government is in consultations with contractors and work will begin soon.
The whole nation has heard about your plight, and the president has given specific instructions that it should be, the project should be taken on emergency basis. So it's not going to be a long process, very, very short process. So very soon you will see work begin here.
The minister was accompanied by the MCE of the area and some NADMO officials.
Now, in a related development, tidal waves have caused havoc to property, running into thousands of Ghana cedis and rendered scores of people homeless. Most affected are fishing communities in the Elembele district. Climate change and rising sea levels have exposed the vulnerability of some of the world's coastal areas to the advancing sea.
3 days ago, the people of Ankobra, Asanta and Esiama had a difficult time when the sea became violent and flooded 3 communities, displacing the people and destroying their homes and personal effects. At Ankobra and Asanta, the sea washed away a number of buildings, piggeries and large quantities of smoked fish made ready for transportation to the market centers. The ravaging waves also washed seaweeds and debris into the communities, posing health risk. GBC24 spoke to a resident of Ankobra, Mr. Dominic Issa.
We thank God it didn't happen in the night. Otherwise, many people would have lost their lives.
Some of the victims who were hard hit by the disaster spoke about the ordeal. They appealed to authorities concerned to help them resettle elsewhere.
This place is far from the sea, but surprisingly, the area was suddenly flooded by the waves.
At Esiama, the tidal waves destroyed the working tools and materials of coconut oil producers. The Minister for Energy and Petroleum, Mr. Emmanuel Amakofibua, who is also a member of parliament for the area, donated relief items to the victims at Ngrofo. The items included bags of rice, maize, cooking oil, mattresses, blankets and packets of roofing sheets. Mr. Amakofibua interacted with and consoled victims of the disaster. He said there's a long-term plan to find a lasting solution to the flooding menace.
Let's go back to Senegal and speak to our correspondent there, Edward Nyaku, who is attending a conference by the African, Caribbean and Pacific ACP conference. Well, good evening, Edward.
Good evening, sir. Cool.
Well, Edward, thank you for joining us again. Well, what are the critical issues being discussed at the conference?
Well, the main agenda on the board is the Economic Partnership Agreement, which the EU or the European Union want to sign with Africa, Caribbean and Pacific countries, because the deadline is 1st October 2016. So that's the main thrust. Secondly, security and climate change issues as well as sustainable development goals that have been deployed by the UN is also high on the agenda. But I had an interview this afternoon with the former president of Nigeria, General Olusegun Obasanjo, on the EPA, because Nigeria has not initialed or signed the EPA. And he said, as an individual, he stands against the EPA because it is not going to help Africa. And so he will not support the cause of the EPA. And his view is very interesting in the sense that he is a chairperson for the eminent persons owned by the Africa, Caribbean, and Pacific countries to restructure their association and also make it very important on the global stage, and especially with reference to the EPA. So coming out with this view is more or less established in the back of the association or the ACP. But he says that as an individual, that is his opinion, but the recommendation that we have made or tabled before the EPA group, the ACP group, is to ensure that they get the best out of the EPA deal. And as we speak now, Ghana has initiated the EPA but has not ratified yet. We are waiting for the ECOWAS group, but Nigeria seems not be forthcoming. And as a result of that, the $6.5 billion euros that was initially promised by the European Union to help the 15 member states in ECOWAS in preparation towards the EPA has been withheld because Nigeria has not initiated. So at the moment, there is lobbying going on. People are talking, making sure that Nigeria will come aboard. And also, the East African countries this afternoon have given an indication that hopefully by 1st October 2016, they would have ratified the EPA. And South Africa too has given an indication that she's also going to do that by the 1st of June this year. So on the whole, it looks as if almost all the African countries are going in the direction of the EPA, except Nigeria now. So that is the main thrust of the meeting that is underway in Dakar.
Okay, Edward, but then if the chair of the eminent group of persons put together is against this, do you think that Nigeria will sign finally?
Yeah, behind the scenes, I spoke to some technocrats and were saying that Nigeria is refusing to sign because some of the big players on the African market are in Nigeria. For instance, Dangote, his name came on board. He was saying that if the ECOWAS and the treaty that it has entered into with the EU, which says that they're going to open up 75% of the ECOWAS market to EU, and also in vice versa, ECOWAS countries can also get 100% access to the EU market. What is going to happen is that Dangote is starting to lose because the European companies will be bringing their goods here and their competitiveness can hardly be matched by products and produce from other African countries, including Dangote and its group of companies. So Nigeria is protecting its interest in that respect. And there are also rumors here that even the General Basanjo has a huge poultry farm in Nigeria. And so if things go on, it might affect his interest as well. Because poultry products that will come from Europe without any tariff will be very cheap. So these are some of the issues that are going on behind the scenes. And so we're waiting for the official opening of the conference tomorrow. Today and yesterday was the preliminaries and what is being done by the Council of Ministers. And so these are some of the issues that are being discussed at the moment.
Okay, finally, Edward, what happens if Nigeria does not sign these agreements? Will the country be taken off the group?
Not necessarily, we can't take Nigeria off because it's a voluntary association, and more so we can't do without Nigeria. She's a big player. We call them the big boy or the big brother. Nigeria cannot be taken off. But the point is that if the EU decides to go ahead with the other ECOWAS member countries that are initially and possibly going to ratify later on, it means that Nigeria will not get access to the EU market as it's been getting. And we should not forget that the major player in terms of export from Nigeria as well as Ghana to outside the world is the European market. So if Nigeria's goods are blocked, it means that it will affect the very existence of a lot of companies in Nigeria, and it will affect employment. Job losses are going to be seen in that respect. So I believe that by the end of this meeting on Saturday, they would have been able to convince Nigeria, and Nigeria too might have gotten what she's looking forward to. Because I believe that Nigeria is also looking forward to make sure that she gets the best deal.
All right,
So
I'm afraid, Edward, we must leave it now from here. Well, we'll get back to you later for updates of the conference.
Now moving on, the Minister for Trade and Industry, Eko Spiogabra, says a web-based gallery has been created to provide a platform for Ghanaian small and medium-scale enterprises to exhibit their products on the internet. Addressing the regular Meet the Press series in Accra on Wednesday, Mr. Spiogabra said the website is hosting products of 910 SMEs from the Upper East, Upper West, Northern Bunafo and Central regions.
The Minister for Trade and Industry is the lead policy advisor to the government on trade, industry and private sector development. Addressing the media on the work the ministry and its agencies have done over the past year, Mr. Spiogabra said the ministry initiated work on a number of policies geared towards enhancing Ghana's trade and industry position. They include a consumer protection policy, Made in Ghana Goods and Services Policy, National Sugar Policy and National Quality Policy. He said the Tariff Advisory Board is being upgraded to Ghana International Trade Commission to give it the legal status to institute trade contingency measures to address unfair trade practices. Mrs. Spiogabra said the Ghana International Trade Commission bill is at the final consideration stage and expected to be passed by Parliament this year. Speaking on investment promotion, Mr. Spiogabra said the Ghana Free Zones Board licensed 21 companies with an estimated capital investment of $150 million in the year under review. The companies generated about $487 million as export earnings and employed 2,043 Ghanaians. He said the Free Zones Board initiated a program to attract investment into the Sekondi export processing enclave. Under the program, a Chinese investor, Wankang Ghana Ceramics, has started developing parts of the land to establish a ceramics factory, while Dangote Cement of Nigeria has also expressed interest in setting up a factory in the enclave. Mrs. Spiogabra said in December last year, the Export Development, Agriculture and Investment Fund, EDIF, set up a 550 million Ghana cedi equity fund to support SMEs engaged in export trade, agro-processing and other activities. The Trade Minister ended his presentation with an appeal to Ghanaians to patronize locally produced goods and services to reduce the country's increasing trade deficit.
Wherever possible, procure only made in Ghana drinks, beverages. There are many wonderful drinks and beverages that are not made in Ghana and which all of us may consume from time to time with our own hard-earned money. But when the money of the state of the Republic of Ghana is being expended, we hope that only made in Ghana products will be bought and distributed. That starts with the State Protocol Department, the Office of the President, all the way to all our respective ministries, departments and agencies, for whatever functions that we may hold. That is one sure way, again, of supporting our local industries.
You're watching the news on GBC24. We have business coming up. Please stay with us.
Good evening, let's talk business. My name is Esther Edu Ohumeu. The economy slowed from 4.0% in 2014 to 3.9% in 2015. The Deputy Government Statistician, Mr. Banwade, pointed to the energy crisis, the contraction in industry and agriculture sectors as responsible for the sluggishness. Notwithstanding this, the service sector continues to be the main driver of the economy, followed by industry and agriculture.
The gross domestic product, GDP, is one of the primary indicators used to gauge the economy. It represents the total value of goods and services produced over a period. In 2014, the country recorded a GDP growth rate of 4.0%. The GDP growth for the first quarter of 2015 was 4.3%.
The figure, however, dropped to 3.9% by the end of the second quarter of 2015. In that same second quarter of 2015, Ghana saw an oil GDP growth rate estimated at current prices of 32.003 million Ghana cedis compared to the 28.961 million Ghana cedis recorded in 2014. Then an oil economy in the second quarter saw an estimated growth of more than 30.497 million Ghana cedis compared to the 27.671 million Ghana cedis previously. Representing the revised annual GDP estimate for 2015, the Deputy Government Statistician Mr. Bawadie said the country's GDP at current prices now stands at 139,936 million Ghana cedis.
The revised annual GDP, including oil growth rate for 2015, is 3.9%, while the revised annual GDP, excluding oil growth rate for 2015, is 4.1%.
The contraction in the economy also affected the country's per capita income, sliding it from 1,426 in 2014 to $1,339 in 2015.
In terms of US dollars, the per capita GDP is 1,339 in 2015 as compared with a per capita of 1,426 in 2014. The per capita GDP is the total GDP distributed equally to the total population, so that what each person in the population will get in terms of sharing our entire GDP is the per capita GDP.
The new figures indicate that Ghana's economy has experienced a slowdown for the fourth consecutive year to an estimated 3.9% growth rate in 2015, owing to the energy crisis, high debt burden, and financial imbalances.
The Association of Alcohol Manufacturers and Importers has signed a charter to regulate its commercial communications. The chairperson of the association, Ajoba Chiama, says the charter publicly demonstrates the association's commitment to effective self-regulation through the adoption of a common code of practice.
The Association of Alcohol Manufacturers and Importers, AAMI, was established in 2006, but only as an informal group made up of 5 companies because of the growing global anti-alcohol sentiment. It was established to coordinate and direct activities towards responsible production and the use of alcoholic products in Ghana. The association became a legally recognized body in 2008 after it was registered to represent the interest of local manufacturers and importers of alcoholic beverages. With over 30 registered members, the association aims at promoting the consumption of alcohol, but it does so responsibly by educating consumers and instilling positive behavioral change in them. To show commitment to social conventions, the AAMI has developed a code of conduct for its commercial communication activities. Speaking at the public signing of the code, otherwise referred to as the Charter, the chairman of the Association of Alcohol Manufacturers and Importers, Ms. Ajoba Chiama, said the code will be used alongside the Food and Drugs Authority's guideline on beverage and alcohol advertisement.
We believe that if we self-regulate and we ensure that we operate with the highest standards, it will make it easier also for the FDA to do their work. Because if each of our members abides by the code, there will be no need for the FDA to reject any of our advertisement applications we submit to them for review.
The acting Deputy Chief Executive of Food Inspectorate Division of the Food and Drugs Authority, Mrs. Isabella Mansa Agra, said the charter would serve as a mediator between the individual manufacturers and the Food and Drugs Authority.
What FDA will benefit from this is to have a better partnership, a better collaboration with the industry itself. And the industry association and its code of conduct, as it's being instituted today, would help, would more or less mediate between individual manufacturers and us. So it's more like a step towards compliance, which is good for us. As a regulator, we would like to see an industry that is self-compliant.
Management of the AAMI say they have a listening ear for any complaints about the charter from the general public and manufacturers. They also hope manufacturers and importers would abide by the code.
First Fund and Heritage Fund, both managed by First Bank Financial Services, held their annual general meetings in Accra. The two funds recorded gains in 2015, the year under review. According to the Chief Investment Officer for First Fund, Mr. Samuel Lesiedu, the fund recorded a gain of 33%. First Fund, one of the investment services of the First Bank, is a short-term to medium-term open-ended money market mutual fund. At the 6th Annual General Meeting, First Fund recorded assets under management growth of 94%. It grew from 22.85 million Ghana cedis in 2014 to 44.45 million Ghana cedis in 2015. The Chief Investment Officer of First Fund, Mr. Samuel Lesiedu, said the number of shareholders in 2015 also increased by 24.75%.
The strategy has been to invest funds mainly in medium-dated certificates of deposit. That's the 182-day instrument. And that was to take advantage of the returns that was high on 182-day bills on the market. Nonetheless, some lesser portion of the funds were also invested in shorter instruments, such as the 91-day, again, to be able to balance it for purpose of having cash to meet redemption requests.
The board chairman of First Fund, Professor Cletus Dodonu, said the fund closed the year with an impressive annual yield of 37.86%, despite the reduction in treasury rates on the market.
First Fund outperformed Government of Ghana treasury bills as well as other money market and mutual funds in the country. The asset under management, AUM, almost doubled in 2015. And if you recalled, we promised that it will increase drastically.
The Heritage, also managed by First Bank, saw an upward adjustment in price from 39 pesos to 41 pesos in the year under review. The board chairman of Heritage Fund, Professor John Ahetu, said the low returns on the stock market in 2015 greatly affected the performance of the fund.
This abysmal performance on the part of the exchange can be attributed to the inflationary pressures and the high interest rates on money market instruments, the latter which led to investors to increase their activities rather in money market.
And now the interbank rates for today. The commodity market is up next. The insurance news is after the break. Now, the Deputy Minister for Finance, Madam Mona Korte, has charged the insurance industry to develop products geared towards the development of micro-insurance in the country. Speaking at an educational conference of the Ghana Insurance Brokers Association in Koforidua, Madam Korte indicated that there is an available market for micro-insurance products which could be utilized by the industry to mobilize premium and deepen the industry's contribution to the economy.
GIBA is an umbrella association of insurance brokers in the country. The educational conference was instituted 3 years ago with the aim of educating players in the industry on emerging issues. The conference brought together about 100 participants from the industry to deliberate on issues confronting the Insurance Brokers Association. The Deputy Commissioner for Insurance, Mr. Nero Davo, said it is an offense under the law for anyone to deal with unlicensed agents.
Of course, you, the brokers and the insurers, know those are licensed agents and you continue to do business with them. To avoid that, the ball is in all of us court to play. The commission can play his role. The insurers should play their role. The brokers should also play their role. But you just know that it is an offense under the law as a broker and insurer to be dealing with unlicensed agents.
The Deputy Finance Minister, Madam Mona Korte, indicated that government will create a favorable policy and legislative environment to deal with the management of risk associated with oil production and investment.
Development in the insurance industry has been phenomenal, particularly the life insurance sector, which has contributed to the mobilization of long-term funds for economic development. It is not surprising that the life insurance has assumed a leading role in the insurance business. The implementation of the National Pensions Act 2008, that is Act 766, and the compulsory insurance for commercial buildings have the potential to mobilize huge funds in the form of premiums to support investments in our economy.
And that was business. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for staying on. Well, before the health segment, just a quick one. On a 3-day accountant to the People Tour of the Bunahafo region, President John Mahama has announced that about 150,000 boarding students from deprived backgrounds in the country are to benefit from the administration's progressively free senior high school SHS policy from the 2016-2017 academic year. Already, day students are benefiting from the policy. Mr. Mahama announced the plan at the inauguration of the Mass Community SHS, one of the 200 SHS he promised to construct during the 2012 election campaign.
I have directed the Ministry of Education to engage in a continuous population of the schools as they are completed and handed over. And so the ministry is not waiting for me to come and commission the schools before they have admitted the students into the school. As we commission this school in them, and many more are ready for commissioning across the country. And so we will continue to admit the students into the schools even as I go around the country commissioning these schools. In addition to the community day schools, I've also launched a secondary education improvement program, and that also reflects our commitment to the expansion of equitable access to secondary education in Ghana. Many doubted this resolve and vision when I announced it, declaring that my administration cannot even build one of such schools. But But today, with the support of many progressive chiefs like you, Demahine, who have supported our work and in many cases provided land free of charge, we are here in Denmark to inaugurate the first completed Community Day Senior High School in the Brong-Ahafo region.
Good evening and welcome to the midweek edition of the health segment. My name is Evans Achampon. Now, the increasing number of people, especially women, suffering from autoimmune diseases in the country is said to be alarming. The absence of diagnostic facilities has contributed to the deaths of patients who are usually unaware of their condition. The founder of Oyemam Autoimmune Foundation, Mrs. Emma Hamdanso, herself a patient, is appealing to government to prioritize medical and logistical support in order for such patients to live a meaningful lives. A report by Sarah Ofori.
Autoimmune disease is a tendency where the body's immune system attacks healthy cells of the various organs because the immune system sees them as foreign. It mimics all kinds of diseases, making it difficult to diagnose. It could take up to 11 years to diagnose, and statistics from the Kolebu Teaching Hospital show that autoimmune diseases make up about 6% of all hospital admissions. At the moment, there are no facilities in Ghana to diagnose autoimmune-related diseases. Laboratory samples are taken to South Africa for testing. At the launch of the Oyemam Autoimmune Foundation, there was a call on government, leaders and individuals to make a conscious effort to provide needed support for patients.
Everyone's contribution counts. Without you, general public, we cannot get this fight right. We need everybody to create the awareness to support the autoimmune disorders. And as we say, for our values, resilience, hope, compassion and integrity. There's hope to live on, and Oyemam Autoimmune Foundation is doing this through advocacy, through awareness creation, through education and through medical assistance for needy autoimmune patients.
Patients with autoimmune diseases are dependent on medication and physiological treatment for life. One could spend up to 6,000 cedis a month on medication. How does it take a toll on the family?
Here you are, you're with someone you intend to spend the rest of your life with, and then they are sick even before you get to that point. So maybe at that point I thought I was going to lose her before, but I mean, thanks be to God, and after going to hospitals and taking the medicine, she came back and she was stronger. I believe if you're meant to be with someone and you actually love the person, then sicknesses or illness or any misfortune or disaster shouldn't prevent you from being together.
You just saw her growing lean, and you see her and it's like your heart is faint. You can see the person very restless and crying. My belief for this foundation is that one day she will come off medication and then God will take his ultimate glory. Because when you see her, the kind of tabs and capsules she counts into her hands to gulp them, it's just unbelieving.
Greater Accra Regional Director of the Ghana Health Service, Dr. Linda Vanotu, offered to champion the cause of patients with autoimmune diseases, calling on spouses and family members not to shun them. Sarah Ofori, GBC24, Accra.
And we apologize for some of the disturbing pictures there. Parents of 20-year-old Andani Pipim, who is suffering from kidney failure, are urgently appealing for support to enable their son undergo kidney transplant in India, which will cost 60,000 Ghana cedis. Further examinations conducted by a consultant cardiologist at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital in Kumasi, Dr. Bernard Inkum, also revealed that the patient also has severe anemia and systematic aerial hypertension and pulmonary edema, all conditions resulting from the kidney disease.
The patient, Adansi Pipim, requires a kidney transplant at a cost of 60,000 Ghana cedis. Since December last year, Adansi has had to undergo hemodialysis sessions twice a week at a cost of 400 Ghana cedis. The father of the patient, Mr. Samuel Oting, who is a pensioner, said his monthly income cannot meet the weekly medical expenses of his son, much less the major kidney transplant, which is estimated at 60,000 Ghana cedis. He is therefore appealing to philanthropists to support the family in saving the life of Adansi Pepim.
Said we did yapim should be a see no a do the edne a do see my whole dinner asa. Mr. Sumia pensioner. The correct grandmany there to an assist in a corona, you see why they will declare and PhD and assist why they are boca or home, papa, I want. Now, Dr. Yazenka, even at Yanka, came from India. I can go in the transplanting. Now, Hoka, it's almost about 600 million. As I said, and some for so I'm a boy, you could pay a show.
The financially struggling family has already spent about 5,000 Ghana cedis due to their son's illness. Adansi Pepim told GBC24 about his predicament.
Me yale am hospital, doctor say me kidney me ni na say. Ti here ti for so on be boa me. We say this year transplant. Ti for be boa scan so. Ti for be boa me na etimi aye. We say that do etimi to bia. Eme nkwa na to me. Me ye adwuma didi na yale wi abeto me. Timi here etie for so mbe boa me.
Any donation should be paid into Ghana Commercial Bank account number 620-100-100-62588, Agona branch, or Fidelity Bank account number 263-091-554-9913, Santasi branch.
And that's all in this segment. International news comes up next. Stay tuned.
The head coach of the national table tennis team, the Black Loopers, Mr. Antonio Usman, says he's satisfied with the quality of play exhibited by teams in the ongoing national league. The league is just 3 weeks old and is expected to run for 13 weeks.
We have 16 competing teams, so you need to know that you're playing 15 matches. We have the first and the second round, and this is the first round. We are in the week 3. Yeah, it's so impressive. Looking at teams like Immigration, beating Ashanti, Monetary County 3-0, and the just heated program competition that we just witnessed. That is Fire Service beating Prisons by 3-2. And other, exciting, competition. You agree with me that all matches, were characterized with very heated competition, which tells you the level of recognition and respect which table tennis has succeeded to all this time. Very satisfied with the level of, performance so far displayed. And I must say that by the end of the first round, if we should enter in the second round, we're going to see a high-level performance, coming from our players.
That's all for sports.
Hello, good evening. Time for some art news. My name is Valerie Danso. The Crocodile Pond is located at Paga in the Upper East region of Ghana, 44 kilometers from Bolgatanga, the regional capital. Although crocodiles are considered wild creatures, the Paga crocodiles are friendly and coexist with humans. It is a customary offense to harm, kill, or show any sign of disrespect to the crocodiles. This is normal for the people of Paga, but a mystery to visitors.
Located in the northeastern border of Ghana, Paga is a sacred crocodile sanctuary. History has it that long ago a hunter was trapped between a pond and a pursuing lion. He made a bargain with a crocodile in the pond that he and his descendants will never eat crocodiles if the crocodile helped him cross the pond and escape from the lion. The request of the hunter was granted by the reptile, and the hunter crossed the pond. The hunter built his house at where the pond was and later grew to become a village. The crocodiles found at Paga are said to be the friendliest crocodiles in Ghana. Mystically, it is said that the souls of the royal family reside in them and it is a taboo to harm them. At the pond, the crocodiles are lured out of the water with a live chicken by the guide at the pond. The crocodiles are attracted by the noise of the chicken and gradually move out of the water to the banks of the pond. The chicken that is used by the guide to entice the crocodiles to come out of the pond is bought by the visitors at the site. Anyone can then have a close encounter with the crocodiles or take a picture with them.
This group has thrown away 15 years of friendship and 6 years of business partnership to pursue solo careers. The group, which is made up of Pakwesi and Anayao, were on GBC24 recently and spoke about some of the issues that made them successful as a group. All good things come to an end, and the two have chosen to go their separate ways. That's it for this segment. Have a good evening.
Well, it's a wrap on the news for now. Thank you so much for watching. We'll be back at 10:30 with News Tonight.
Have a good evening.